Hey, it's Adriana, and this is my review of The Great Gatsby. I'm a little late on this one because I was away, but I finally got to see The Great Gatsby, which I was looking forward to because of the grand cinematic scope it looked like it was going to take on. I have read the book, and I'm not a huge fan of the book. I liked it. I read it for school. I read it really late, last minute, before I had to write an essay for it. So I enjoyed it in the sense that it wasn't so bad in that situation. I didn't love it the way that a lot of people love and cherish this book as the great American novel. I don't think it's that. I don't think the story's that great. I think it's okay. It's written in a very lovely way. I think F. Scott Fitzgerald is a good writer, and he makes things sound better just with his words. Like, he's good with words. But the actual plot of the movie was not, in the book, the plot of the book is not so epic and grand as this movie, which is so spectacular, so grand. It takes this story that isn't really that special or that on the same scale of what the movie is, and it tries to put it in that place, which I think it does effectively. There might be spoilers in this review, but if you haven't read The Great Gatsby, it's been out since like 1920 something, so that's not my fault at this point. The movie is really true to the book. I only read the book like a month ago, so it's pretty fresh in my mind, and yeah, it follows the book really well. So in that sense, it's really great. I felt like, I kind of read the book already knowing about this movie. I'd already seen pictures and trailers and stuff. But after reading the book, I could see that there kind of was a different approach that the movie could have taken. It could have been a really small, understated way of telling this story, which isn't, that grand of a story. It's a love story between Jay Gatsby, played wonderfully by Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio is my favorite actor. I'll just, for the record. And he is brilliant in this role, which isn't a likable role. I don't know if he's supposed to be likable. I don't know if people like Gatsby, but I don't like Gatsby. He's exactly what everyone who doesn't like him in the movie says he is. He's a cheat, he's a liar, he's a fake, he is crazily obsessed with Daisy, who is played by Carey Mulligan, who I also think was really great in the role. He's, crazy in love with her. It's over the top and it's ridiculous. And you can't really take this guy seriously, especially in this movie, when he's lurking around and being all weird and creepy, which I really think Gatsby is a major creeper. And Leonardo DiCaprio really brings that out in him. Reading the book, I didn't find Gatsby as creepy as I did as I saw, watching him in the movie, but he is, mega weird. He's a weird guy, and it's not attractive, his crazy obsession with Daisy. Leonardo DiCaprio is attractive, and he looks amazing in this movie. Not just, the actors all look so beautiful. They really bring out, all of their features. Everyone's eyes are so prominent and sparkling, and the costumes are elaborate and gorgeous, and it captures this 1920s feel, way to the max. It made me wish I was in the 20s. It made me wish I could go to one of those parties. It was just so elaborate, so beautiful. The cinematography was gorgeous. Every technical aspect of this movie was just done to the max, and it worked. I thought it worked really well. As I said, the movie could have been in a completely different direction with a different director who could have made it a small drama, very understated, and I think that could have been also a really incredible film. But since the story itself isn't that elaborate and great, I think that the fact that Baz Luhrmann took it and made it into this spectacle kind of gave something to this story. it made it something to watch. The love story between Gatsby and Daisy, which, I don't know, I don't buy it that much, and I don't really care that much for their love story, so that kind of put me at odds with the movie with who do I sympathize with. You don't want to sympathize with Tom Buchanan, who's a total asshole himself, but at the same time, Gatsby's equally cheaty and weird and creepy, so it's a weird place to be in, but it's also interesting because Nick Carraway, played by Tobey Maguire, is narrating, and he's the outside view, and we see all this through his eyes, and he also seems to be a bit conflicted, even though he stays very true to Gatsby, who seems to be his best friend. But you also see his conflict in the situation, and just seeing it through his eyes gives a really cool perspective to the novel and to the film. And I'm not one of the people who hate Tobey Maguire. I know a lot of people kind of hate him. I like Tobey Maguire as an actor. I think these kind of roles suit him. The kind of bystander, he's not so much in the action, but he's good at like narrating and stuff. So the music in this film, I heard so much about the soundtrack. I didn't listen to any of the songs before going to the movie because I wanted to just hear it fresh, see how it works in the movie. But I was super impressed with the soundtrack, which it took 1920s jazz style and integrated really modern music and the score and everything. I loved a lot of the original songs that they used, and I was under the impression that the music was all going to be modern, and I like with a little bit of a jazz influence, but they still had some classical jazz in there, which one scene that really made use of Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin, which is one of my favorite instrumental pieces ever. The general use of music was just great. So yeah, the performances were really good all around. I don't know if this will be Oscar talk for acting. I wish it could be, but it's not Leonardo DiCaprio's best performance, and he has not been nominated for a lot of his better performances, so I really don't see that happening. I'd be happy for it to happen, but that's only because I really like him as an actor. I want him to win an Oscar, but I don't see that happening for this movie, sadly. As I said, Carey Mulligan was really great. Joel Edgerton as Tom Buchanan was really great. Really, kind of made you hate him. I really liked the movie. I really enjoyed the movie. It's a good movie, and it takes a book that, contrary to popular opinion, in my opinion, doesn't have that much to work with. It takes that and it brings it to something that's a little bit more accessible and more entertaining. I'm not saying I don't like the book. I don't not like it. I just don't think it's, with all the hype around it too, if you, being like someone like me, reading it now after it's been out forever and it's been acclaimed and all this talk about it, it just doesn't really live up to that. But because it's in this really elaborate style, it's very over the top. In a good way in some doses, and sometimes it made things a little bit laughable, which maybe aren't really supposed to be laughable. Like, in general, Gatsby's love for Daisy was a bit much. In general, the whole thing, Gatsby creeping around in people's yards and stuff, and sometimes it made useful, over-the-top, like comedic gestures. Overall, I'm really just nitpicking at the movie. I did enjoy it. It's 2.5 hours long. It does not feel 2.5 hours long. It goes by fast. There are some scenes that drag a bit. It is slow in a little bit of parts that probably could have been edited a little bit more, but overall, I liked it. I saw it in 3D, which I thought was worth it. It's elaborately visual and beautiful, and having it in 3D was just that little extra oomph that gave it something a little bit special. I missed it in IMAX. I wish I had seen it in IMAX. I think it would have been an even better spectacle. That's The Great Gatsby. I enjoyed it, but I don't love the story or the characters all that much, which made it hard to be, 100% all into it. Doesn't affect me that much on an emotional level for these reasons. And for that reason, I can't say I love this movie. But it is a fun, good watch, and it is spectacular, so see it in theaters. I'm giving the film an 8.5 out of 10. So thank you so much for watching my review, and if you agree or disagree, please comment below. I'd love to discuss it with you. And if you like what you see, please subscribe. Thanks so much.